And here we go. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 7 of the Huddle, our 33rd episode overall. I'm your host, Tait of BlueBombers.com. Join us every Tuesday at 3 p.m. on YouTube and X again this week. Our numbers are way up. Thank you for all the fans who have joined us live on the show. You can watch it again on repeat on YouTube, on the Blue Bombers YouTube page. We are pleased to be joined this week by one of the newest Bombers. Signed in free agency this offseason, James Vaughters, defensive end from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Appreciate you, James. Thanks for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
So we're going to get to your road travel, your career, how you got to Winnipeg, maybe your first impressions of Winnipeg. But we always start with the Coors Light Chill Chat. It's kind of a bit of an icebreaker, James, where I ask my goofy questions. So welcome to the Coors Light Chill Chat, a chance to kick back and get to know the Blue Bombers players a little better. Proudly brought to you by Coors Light, the official beer and chill choice of the Blue Bombers.
There's regular cold, and then there's the mountains are blue cold. Mountain cold refreshment. Coors Light, the chill choice.
Okay, James. So last year we had a poll question. Is a hot dog a sandwich, right? Is that what it was, Josh? Okay. And maybe weigh in on that first. Is a hot dog a sandwich or just a hot dog?
Hot dog's a hot dog. To me, a sandwich has to be bun or not bun, but bread, top and bottom.
Yeah.
The sideways thing kind of
Yeah.
makes
Agreed.
it to the own thing.
100%. We had some different answers on that, though.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. So here, this year's poll question, we've only done it once so far. Last week, Jamison Sheehan weighed in. What's your favorite cereal? Are you a cereal guy?
I could give you a long story on that. When I was growing up, my favorite cereal was Cinnamon Toast Crunch. But, now I'm getting older. I've been playing football for a long time. And you get into all the, what's actually in the cereal. So I started going to the farmer's market and, getting my own oats and then getting my own sunflower seeds and, pumpkins, shelled pumpkin seeds, pistachio, peanut butter, honey, cinnamon, all this,
all mixed up.
Yeah, so it's like a high unsaturated fat, high protein version of cereal with, oatmeal, yeah.
Okay, so last week, Jamison Sheehan's choice was Special K. You've got this hybrid thing that's really amazing. And I keep saying Captain Crunch. And if you look at the side of the box for Captain Crunch, it is not healthy whatsoever. Maybe that's why I like it so much.
Well, the issue with the box cereal is you eat it and then 30 minutes later you're actually hungry.
That's true.
So that's why I stopped eating cereal.
Okay, good for you, man. I appreciate that. More food questions. Do you have a pregame meal that you go to all the time?
One of my teammates last year, Julian Hauser, who's with Hamilton now, put me on steak and eggs. So I'm eating steak and eggs every morning for breakfast. But also, if we have a night game, sometimes I'll have acai bowl with peanut butter or something like that. Something that's got a lot of carbs, but maybe a lot of fat too, a lot of protein, all that stuff.
So how long before kickoff would you eat? Do you have to wait a while? When's your pregame meal? Is the way I should be asking that.
So last week we played at 7:30.
Yeah.
I didn't eat till noon, and I had steak and eggs at noon. I have a bunch of fruit between watermelon, pineapple, cantaloupe between the meal at noon and kickoff, and then 2 hours before kickoff, I'll usually have just a bowl of sweet potato.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
You've got this all planned out, right?
Try to feel the same in every game, so you try to do everything the same.
So you've already said you had the healthiest cereal I've ever heard, and now this is all. Do you have a cheat meal even? What's your cheat meal?
My wife is French, and we always try to find the best bakeries in town wherever I go. So I've been going to Le Croissant, I think it's in Saint Boniface.
Yep.
But we had a few spots in Calgary that we used to go to where I'll, whatever they got, especially when they have their Saturday, Sunday specialties, obviously croissant, choux, been wanting to have monkey bread or even like blueberry croissant. Like I'll probably have like 3 the day after the game to like break. I can't usually eat after the game.
Okay.
And then I'll eat the next day and have a cheat meal since I'm in a calorie deficit. So I call
See, now,
it healthy.
when you start rattling off those things, the croissant, like, to me, that's a healthy option. For me, that would be, I'm eating good here today.
Well, if you eat 1 croissant, it's a healthy option. But when you get up to 3 or 4,
Yeah, okay.
it's like, all right.
All right. Yeah, the calories get up there. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
If you could be a pro athlete in another sport, what would you pick?
Soccer or football, whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it. But soccer,
Yeah.
hands down.
Are you a big fan?
Yeah, I mean, I started watching it. Well, I've sat out a season or 2 in my professional career of football. So like, sometimes if depending on how you're feeling, it's hard to watch like a football game or an American football game.
Yeah.
But I started picking up soccer because I could play FIFA. A lot of my friends play FIFA in college, and I could just watch it in the afternoon. It's not like football where like it's
Right.
literally the last thing you do that day, no matter what, because it's like a night game. Like I could watch it in the afternoon, carry on with the rest of my day. So I just started following it, picked a team. It's easiest if you pick a team. I like Manchester United, though tough years for us. But yeah, I love soccer.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite player?
I wouldn't say I have a favorite player per se. I watch probably Zidane highlights more than anything.
Yeah.
But
He
I
was
don't have a
amazing.
current player
Yeah.
that I think
Yeah.
is.
Okay. Do you have a pet peeve? If I say, spit one out right here that bugs you, something that bugs you that you have to get off your chest.
That's tough. Like a social kind of thing or like anything?
Anything. Like the one I used last week is I hate when you're in traffic and you got to turn and the guy in front of you takes his time too much. I know it's a small little thing, but put your foot on the gas and let's get going here. Don't, take the turn like this. And so that's one of mine. That's my example.
Pet peeves. It's hard to put a finger on one. I think I have a lot of them. I mean, if you want to talk about driving, one thing I think is different about Canada, this used to be a pet peeve, but no longer is. I noticed like in the States, like people go 10, 15 over the
Right.
speed limit, and this is in miles. So in
Yep.
kilometers is technically probably around 20 kilometers over.
Yep.
But people here drive like the speed limit.
Yeah.
So now instead of a reverse, it's like a reverse pet peeve. So like when I'm up here, I actually got used to driving the actual speed limit. So when I go back to the States and drive and someone's acting upset because I'm driving the speed limit, I'm like, why are you guys in such a hurry? What's so important that you got to get to on a Sunday afternoon?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, I like that one.
And I'm going to jump in. I got one.
Okay.
I want to know if 2 questions, both about hot dogs, being from Chicago.
Oh, here we do it.
One is it true that you're not allowed to put ketchup on a hot dog if you're from Chicago?
Technically, I'm from Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta.
I was
see.
born in Chicago, so every time I get that question
I
in
see.
Canada a lot because I was born in Chicago, but I'm from Atlanta technically.
Interesting.
But so I don't know I
You
moved
can't
when I
weigh
was-
in on the hot dog ketchup debate then.
I moved when I was 3, so I don't know the decorum of hot
Okay,
dogs.
I see.
Yeah.
So then, talk to us. Give us what's something like classic Atlanta, like that you're going to Atlanta. This is what you got to get if you're going to go to Atlanta for the first time in terms of food.
One thing that I always attribute to Atlanta is the wings, because I have a hard time eating wings outside of Atlanta. It needs to be a dry rub. Obviously, the staple is lemon pepper, but it needs to be a dry rub, and it needs to be. I like mine like in a pool of butter, almost like a lot of butter.
Yeah.
But like buffalo wings and wings with sauce and stuff, I'd prefer a buttered dry rub every time.
Okay. Yeah, my favorite would probably be the Cajun dry rub.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good one too.
Yeah.
And usually, I prefer a spot that has house-made ranch. The best
Okay.
spots in Atlanta have a house-made ranch too.
All right. That's good. Good to know. If they're making a movie, the James Vaughters story, which current actor would play you in the movie?
Current.
Or it doesn't have to be current. It could be anybody.
A James Vaughters movie. I don't know. I just feel like there's not that many that I could even. I think Michael B. Jordan's a decent one. I think people give me a hard time about looking like Common all the time. I think he's a good.
Yeah.
He's an actor technically.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think
Michael B. Jordan's a good one.
I think obviously he'd have to shave his head for the part.
Yeah.
But I think he could do the job.
Did you see what's his latest one? Sinners.
Sinners? Yeah,
Yeah.
I did see.
Yeah, it's
I
good.
thought it was good.
Yeah,
I thought it was
me
really
too.
good. And I like that. What you don't see a lot in movies anymore is actor and director relationships similar to like a De Niro with Scorsese
Yep.
or Sam Jackson with Tarantino or that kind of thing. And I can appreciate like a director and a lead actor that like really know each other because I feel like they just get better the more movies they do.
That's a good point. I really appreciated too that he played basically two characters, right?
Yeah.
So that was a good movie.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. And then the last one of this segment, the Coors Light Chill Chat. I know it hasn't been a lot yet, but what's your first impressions of Winnipeg?
I like it. I like it a lot. In Winnipeg the city or
Winnipeg the city
or Winnipeg the team. I like Winnipeg, and what's crazy to me is when I got here, I was originally planning on living downtown, but like, how far we kind of are from downtown, and me having a family and having a young son who's almost 2, I think like suburban life as much as when you're a kid, you think like urban life's got to be where it's at. Like it's so cool. I love living in the suburbs now, and we're staying in Bridgewater, and I was just talking to some guys in the sauna, just the way that they have Bridgewater set up, which was technically like a mixed living community, is just like, walking distance gym, walking distance grocery store, walking distance restaurants, walking distance playgrounds, little fountains. It's really kid friendly, and I'm spending a lot of time outside with my son, and he's loving it.
Yeah.
Doesn't even need toys because we just walk.
Well, you also touched on a couple places that you and your wife have gone for pastries. It's a good town to explore that kind of stuff in.
Right.
When you get more time off, right? You don't get a whole lot of time off, but it's I'm from here, so I think it gets a bad rap sometimes. There's lots of good restaurants too, and you get out and explore.
Yeah.
So cool.
I've been cooking so much lately, but Brady recommended Marcello's Meats, an Italian meat spot, to me. That's really close to here. And Le Croissant and La Belle Baguette that I also went to. I just like the Canada food just because of whatever different regulations they have than the States.
Yeah.
I love eating here. I love cooking here, and I love eating here.
Yeah, right on. Good to hear. Okay, let's get to the second segment, Josh. This is what we call the road traveled, sort of, especially for a guy that we don't know a whole lot yet about. We like to just kind of track your trajectory to Winnipeg. And so, as you said, you were born in Chicago. You moved to Ohio when you were young, right?
Yeah.
And then to Stone Mountain, Georgia, it said on.
Right.
Is that basically a suburb of Atlanta? Is that right?
Right. It's about 25 minutes northeast of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was like growing up in Stone Mountain?
It's changed. We just moved back to Georgia, so I have to remember because it's changed so much. But very football enthusiastic, I'd say. Like the team that I played for, I went to Tucker High School, which Tucker and Stone Mountain are kind of like there's been some sort of changes in, like, technically my address could be Tucker, Stone Mountain.
I see.
Or technically Smoke Rise. So, but I went to Tucker High School. We won our school's first state championship, but we had always been creating a lot of college prospects, and usually go deep in the playoffs, but just weren't winning the whole thing. So I enjoyed that. Atlanta is a very black city. At least it was. It's changing, but I think growing up around people that look like me, especially in the States, was really important for me.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of my family has moved to Georgia since we moved down. So I think I just feel like even after being gone for so long, I've lived in so many different places with my wife and with football. Moving back to Georgia, I think it feels so much like home. I always think about the Ray Charles song with the moonlight through through the pine thing, and just like the trees, the amount of trees there are in Georgia just is,
Yeah.
it's mesmerizing to me to this day.
Yeah, right on. So I got to put my glasses on for this part, James, because I'm getting old. But so this is the stuff I saw on, now I know Wikipedia is not always the most accurate, but I'm relying on it here. So this is what it says about you when you were at Tucker High School. You earned an honors as an Under Armour All-American, 2010 Georgia Class 4A Defensive Player of the Year, DeKalb County All-Class Defensive Player of the Year, two-time Georgia Merit Scholar, two-time President's Education Award recipient, National Beta Club, National Honor Society, Franklin D. Watkins Award finalist for the nation's top African-American scholar athlete. I can see why Stanford was after you.
Yeah.
You must have had some options, hey, coming out of high school?
Technically there weren't as many ranking sites back then as there are now. I think it was just like scout.com and rivals.com, maybe Max Prep back then, but as far as linebackers come, I think I was top 5, top 2 in the class. And I think my parents really harped on the education aspect of it a lot, and I really wanted to play football really bad. So like I think I dedicated a lot of time and energy to doing the most that I could, and I was, like I said, like my city's very football enthusiastic, so I had friends that we all would train together, do extra work together, go to the local gym together. I grew up in the local gym the same way like some guys grow up in like the barbershop and
Right.
some of these things that you see, so stories that you hear. So yeah, I think I was definitely pushing myself a lot in high school, and Stanford being where they were in football at the time and where they have always been academically, I think it was kind of a no-brainer type of situation for me. I think we were number 3 in the country when I got there.
Yeah. A lot of guys go to university just to play ball, but you went there to get an education too, right? I mean, you don't go to Stanford just to, take the easy way out.
Well, absolutely. And I think it was, Stanford had a reputation for being as much about like the school as a lot of people don't know. Like it's a really small school, but they have more athletes, not just like higher percentage of athletes, but they have more total athletes than any other school, period.
Yeah.
Not even like these schools that have 50,000 students have more athletes than Stanford has. So it was not only like an academic school, but it's actually like a school that's geared towards sports. So I think that made a big difference too.
Yeah. And then, after Stanford, I mean, you had a real good career. You got a political science degree, I think, right? Okay. And then at Green Bay signed you after the 2015 draft, right? And then New England, Calgary the first time, San Diego, Calgary, Chicago. And you played your first game November of 2019 with the Bears against Philly, right?
Correct.
What do you remember about that game?
It was just, I think I was just overwhelmed with emotion, I think, that day. Just because even the way that, before even getting to the way that year had gone for me, I mean, I remember not like planning on going to the CFL in 2017, and like still, if anybody asked me about it, they'd be like, "Yeah, I'm going to be in the NFL one of these days."
Right.
And it was still at least 3 years in the future, and I was technically unemployed, a free agent, not even started a CFL season yet. So I think a lot of people that I knew kind of felt like it sounded like a pipe dream type of thing.
Ah, okay.
So I think it was one of those things that some people call it manifesting, whichever. But I think the way that I kind of kept my head on straight and kind of had a one-track vision towards it, really just, there was so much work that went into it. And then even that year, having like the best preseason of probably any D and outside linebacker in the league in the preseason. I think I had 3 sacks, like 2 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries or something crazy, and still got cut. And didn't even get a practice squad spot. Did 2 weeks on the practice squad, then got sent home. And then 6 weeks later, got pulled off the couch in week 9, I think it was, to literally like signed, played 3 days later. So it was just like, as far away as it could have felt 2 days ago, 3 days ago, and all of a sudden I'm actually like doing it. So.
Well, so now you filled in a lot of layers there, there's a lot more context to what I just said, right? It's not just a guy playing his first game, it's the pursuit of it and not giving up and all that, right?
Right.
You persevered a lot.
Yeah, especially like kind of what you brought up about how I was in high school. I think at that point I almost assumed that it was going to happen. And then you go through 3 years of college, make it onto a practice squad, have a season-ending injury, don't get picked up the year after that. I think it's just such a series of ups and downs that there are layers to it.
Yeah. Absolutely. So in that first game, is there a moment that stepping on the field for the opening kickoff or whatever it might have been? What stands out to you as the takeaway moment from that first ever game?
It's always it's always when the national anthem plays to me, just because it's probably the most packed and most energetic the stadium is, but the quietest because there's only one person speaking in the entire building. I think it's one of those things that there's so much silent energy that's in the stadium. I still got like that the other day playing here, just because it's my first time playing here, first time playing a new team since 2019. So it's just like, I think I feel it the most at that time. I was on the sideline just freaking, I was crying tears.
Well, I was going to say, because now that you say that and you're helping me understand this a little bit better, there's oftentimes a camera will catch a guy in any game on the sidelines and he's crying.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, what's going on with that guy? And yet you've just kind of really explained it very well. It's there's so much leading up to that. That's the moment before you put the helmet on and strap it up and go out there. It's
the height of anticipation to me.
Yeah.
But also it's you literally, as soon as it's over, you have to snap right back in. So I think it's just that day I probably cried when I woke up that morning, got on the bus, cried when I saw the stadium out the window, got dressed, went out. I was balling, and I played like the role I was in, because they weren't going to put me in like really crazy situations. I think I maybe played 5 plays on defense,
right?
And I was playing kickoff and kickoff return, which at that time in the NFL was close to obsolete. There's a lot of touchbacks. So like the role wasn't that big, but it was just like the moment was huge to me.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I'm glad you explained it like that, because it again fills in some blanks for me. Correct me if I'm wrong here. It says your first career sack was Tom Brady.
Yeah, it was at Soldier when we played them when they were with the Buccaneers. Yeah.
You got to recreate it. Tell me what happened on that.
Well, it wasn't. I think sometimes I've always been a person that like feels like it has to be good enough like for me. It's not necessarily about like who I sacked, but like how it happened. And on that play, we were halfway through the season already, and it's not a division game. And one of the things I realized when I first got to the NFL, that like the energy at practice, the energy all week when it's a division game is completely different than when it's a non-division game, just because it's got playoff implications. So it wasn't a division game. I think it was like it was a false. I think it was like the center snapped the ball and he wasn't supposed to. The tackles weren't ready. I just kind of was racing the other D end to get there before he did, and I did. So I still had to tackle him. It's not like he kneeled or something, and I just touched him down. So it was big for me. But I would say that there was higher difficulty, higher stakes sacks that I had later in my career that I think meant a little bit more to me.
Okay, so it's not my place to tell you how to do things, but you got to tell that story better down the road. When you have grandkids, it's got to be you had a triple team and you had,
Well, I could tell you the story that I think is the thing that I hang my hat on.
Oh, let's hear that one.
I think I had played 2 years with the Bears. Got cut at the end of camp, my third camp with the Bears. They offered me a practice squad spot. I kind of turned it down, not knowing that if I had another opportunity, but I more or less turned it down. Sat in Chicago for 24 hours and then ended up getting picked up by the Falcons, which I'm from Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
My position coach from Chicago had left Chicago and gone to Atlanta, so I got picked up that same day, played that same week.
Wow.
And eventually got moved up to the active roster in a year that, well, I didn't know it then, but would end up being my last year in the NFL. This is 2021. So we're playing the Saints in New Orleans, fourth quarter. We weren't that deep on the roster. I was getting a lot of playing time as somebody that had been picked up on practice squad after camp. I get mostly first and second downs. I was more like a run stopping specialist. They would bring in the guys they really want to rush in the passer for third down, so I wasn't getting many third downs. We got to play action on second down. I think we were down. I can't remember what the score was, but it's late in the game, fourth quarter. Basically, I get a sack fumble that just gets run down to the 2-yard line. That ends up being probably the biggest defensive play in the game. We still ended up needing like a last second field goal to win it fully, but like division game, rivalry that I grew up watching Michael Vick play against other quarterback.
Drew
who was his
Brees,
cousin.
yeah.
It was the black quarterback who's Mike Vick's cousin, Ahmad something.
Okay.
I forgot his last name, but it's a rivalry that I grew up watching.
Yeah.
So like winning that game on that play, I think I don't keep a lot of paraphernalia jerseys, but I have the ball that I got the sack fumble on.
Okay.
And the defensive player of the game ball that I got. I have that in my house. That's the only thing I have.
Well, and that's a better story than the Tom Brady sack story.
Yeah, exactly.
I like how that one turned out.
Because people bring up this Tom Brady thing to me all the time. It's like,
because it's Tom Brady, but yeah.
I get it, but it's not necessarily about who you're sacking. It's more, I take more pride in who you're rushing as a tackle, which was Armstead, who just retired, but he was one of the best in the league at
for a
that
long time. Yeah.
And he was upset when I got this sack fumble, like for perfect reasons. But I'll take more pride in defeating a tackle that I see as top tier than who, because once you get the sack, I mean, it's not like if it was Lamar Jackson, maybe I'd feel a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, so now whoever does the Wikipedia page has got to take that segment you just told us and put it on there, because that's a good story. Instead of it doesn't just have to be about the Tom Brady sack. Okay.
Yeah.
I like your story and your perseverance, because I like it. Like you said, there's a lot of times where people say no, thank you, or they move on, and you kept at it, and you had the NFL dream, and you came up here and you still went back, and like you didn't give up on it. And I think you probably have a different perspective than a lot of guys now as a vet, right? In that room, and like we had Zach on our podcast yesterday, and he talked about just appreciating everything. And I'm sure you're in that boat now too, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think coming up here the first time, you realize how much you love the game. Just the game, absent of, who thinks you're famous, absent of how much money you're making, absent of any of those things. Like the game itself is, in a situation like mine or Zach's, is why you play. So I think being in like a role, the first time I was up here where I was still technically a reserve player, like coming off the bench as a defensive end, when guys get hurt, I get to start, type of thing, going to the NFL and being also in a reserve position. I always talk about how I've had the luxury to play the game from every angle that you could play from not knowing that if you're going to be on the team to the highest paid defensive lineman on the team. So I think just like not being jaded by the experience, I think those kind of treatments were important to me, just because it's like I know everybody knows somebody that says, well, I was really good, I should have been playing, or I should be playing right now, I'm better than who's on the TV. But like I think I'm blessed enough to not have to have that type of story that doesn't have any closure to it, because I've played it from every angle.
Right.
And without the perseverance aspect of it, I would have never given myself that opportunity, because my dad had to talk me out of not playing anymore when I was probably 22. And I'm thankful to him for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, it's about appreciating now the moments, right? Because you had to fight so hard to get here. You might as well soak it up while you can, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do the Duron equipment segment, right?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's move right along here. So we got 500 people hanging out, watching, checking in, chatting. We got lots of good questions. It's looking great.
Yeah, we'll get to the questions in a little bit, right? The next segment will.
That's right. We'll take one or two right now, but real quick, we'll shout out Duron Equipment for being our official sponsor of the Jersey segment. So thank you to them. Again, we're working on a new commercial for them. The script has just been approved, so we're going to get out there and shoot that and get that on the show right away. But there's a lot of episodes left for that commercial to run on. So thanks to Duron Equipment for sponsoring the Huddle here. So let's move right along. I'm going to put a link in the chat on both X and YouTube to win your very own James Vaughters jersey. So that link is in the chat now. Go there, sign up with your email, and a bonus entry for subscribing to the YouTube channel to win that jersey. So while those are rolling in, we're just going to take a couple of questions before we move on here.
Sure.
And the first one in the chat has already been answered. What's it like sacking Tom Brady?
Someone else went to the Wikipedia page.
I'm sorry to disappoint.
The first one. That's all right. The Tom Brady question got us to the great story. So I'm glad it was there. So we'll be moving on. The question is, has anything, we kind of touched on this a little bit, but it's phrased a little bit different from the fan here. What has surprised you most about this city? Did you have any preconceived notions about Winnipeg that didn't maybe line up? Did anything surprise you about Winnipeg now that you've been here for a couple of months?
I mean, I kind of, you're right. I did kind of say it already, but just I think the quality of life living in Bridgewater has surprised me, but also I think the quality of the organization, not to sound like but it has impressed me. Like I was telling Jake, like we had 20 days of camp first week again, and like I think there was probably a 25 day streak where like something was happening every day that I was either surprised by or impressed by. And whether it's just the way we run practice, whether it's the demeanor of the team, the demeanor of the coach, the details of the training staff, the support of the fans, just like the quality of the stadium, just like how, I mean, they were doing renovations when I got here, and I've just been impressed with the quality of everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, right on. Can we move on to the next, or you got another question, Josh?
We'll take one more question.
Yeah.
We got lots, but we'll get to them later too. We'll take one more. Just again, jersey giveaway. That link is in the chat. Make sure you get there, and you got to be able to pick it up at the Bomber store. Unfortunately, we can't ship it anywhere. You got to be able to come and pick it up. And if you win, we will reach out to you via the team's official email. So keep your eyes on your email inbox. We'll take one more question, and then we'll save the rest for the end of the show, because I'm really excited about the next segment that we're about to get into. So we'll take one more question. This one says, what do you think the best way is to describe the difference between the NFL and the CFL? Almost what would be your pitch to people to watch the CFL?
I think my opinion on it is that while there may be, like giant, different, otherworldly level of athletes that you'll see in the NFL, I think that the CFL is actually a better game with the rule differences.
Mm-hmm.
So the 20-yard end zone, the return of missed field goals, the single point, Larger field, 3 downs, so way more shifts in momentum in the game, way more important play late in the fourth quarter. I think for me at first, watching as someone that grew up watching the NFL, I think the attention span needs to be different watching the CFL game, because it's not like a timeout, go grab some chips, TV timeout, go outside and smoke, whatever you do.
Yeah.
Do a bunch of other stuff while you're watching the game.
Right.
I think that the CFL is like a game that you have to pay attention to for the entirety of it, whether it be a 3.5 hour game. You have to pay attention to it because there's so many shifts and there's so many ways to score.
Right.
That it just makes it, to me, a better game to play.
Yeah. I like that answer a lot. I'm a fan of both leagues. I think lots of people are, and I hate when we try to say this one's better than the other. I do like what you say. In the NFL, sometimes a team will put together a 9-minute drive, right? And it's just you're kind of mesmerized, but then you can kind of nod off. And there's probably 4 possessions in a 9-minute span up here, right? And the kicking game's different, and I like this version better than, as you said, running down on kickoff cover in the NFL is like, you're just getting a sweat on there, right?
I forgot about the halo and punt. A punt is always getting returned. Yeah. Unless they unintentionally, a lot of times, kick it out of bounds. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Great. Let's move right along.
Okay. So earlier today, I went on your website, jamesvaughters.com. I got to say, man, that is sharp. That is a cool website.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. And so on the website, this is... You're a unique dude, man. I like this. This is what it says about James Vaughters. Is a multidisciplinary artist excelling both in athletics and the visual arts. His passion for art is rooted in his love for architecture and fashion. James firmly believes that art serves the purpose of satisfying our fundamental human needs while simultaneously inspiring us to look beyond our personal experiences. There's a lot going on that website, but let's talk about, you have a degree in political science, and that it really clearly, your passion is art, architecture, and fashion, right? Would you say?
Yes.
The website blows me away. So does your Instagram page, and you've done modeling, you're a fashion guy. How did you get into all this?
A lot of different ways, I think. First of all, on the website, I have to give credit to, I worked with a creative agency, Bobby Trends and the BT Collective on the website. And we just kind of put my personal brand vision on it, just because I wanted it to be a unique website, just because as a football player, I don't think we have a lot of creative outlets unless you kind of make it yourself. So, taking it all the way back to just how I grew up, my brother went to art school. He was I don't know if I'd call it, say, prodigy, but he was the best I knew at drawing my entire childhood. So I think I used to draw too. I've taken drawing classes. I think I'm pretty good myself. And I think just the different way of looking at things that art requires, because it's not so direct, logical hustle of a thing. It's like a thing that you do for leisure that can kind of help you meditate and expand the way you view, different walks of life, right? So I got into I do wardrobe styling for one of my teammates from college, Solomon Thomas, who played for the Jets for the last 3 years and now plays for the Dallas Cowboys. So that was really my first opportunity to technically make money off of doing art, but I had picked up photography and done architectural photography and landscape photography as a hobby. And when I was coming out of high school, I wanted to study architecture in college, but it didn't happen, just for a plethora of reasons. But I think it's just something that I'm passionate about, and I think it seems like it's material things that are just in that kind of frame how we walk through life, but the more you learn about it, the more I feel like the material that we use, the space that we have, kind of changes the way we feel as people. And I think in football, I feel like I was just saying about the atmosphere of a stadium, the atmosphere of a city can completely change the way you interact with your daily life. So I really enjoy it.
Yeah. Does your brother, what's he do now?
He works he works in Atlanta, but
Did he explore his artistic?
a little bit, but that's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
like art's one of those things where it's like, either sometimes I think artists feel an internal struggle between like selling out, quote unquote, like doing your art for money and doing your art for the reason why you do it, which is because the way it makes you feel.
Something
And I
moved
think,
you.
yeah, right. So I think there's like there's a line to play there to a certain extent, and like I wish my best for my brother when it comes to art, but also like I think seeing him have that internal struggle kind of made me more or less study, the artists that we know best, and trying to understand like what made them so good at getting famous for it, or
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So the guy that you mentioned, the guy from the Jets, your buddy.
Yes.
Yep. Explain to me what you help a guy out with his wardrobe. Is that you like the guy help him with his style? Is that what I mean? I'm really dumbing it down here. But
No, it's okay. So basically my first shot at styling him was for the NFL honors, because he's been a 3 consecutive year Walter Payton Man of the Year
okay.
nominee. So they have events at Super Bowl weekend that they have to go to represent represent his nonprofit, but also it's a event, like an awards gala, I guess is what you would call it, where like the guys wear custom suits. So basically that I pick out everything that he wear. I basically, just based on my size and based on my way of, I guess dressing, I think he trusted me. We're similar height, similar build. I think he trusted me to be able to put him in something that would be tasteful for the way he's built, just because I know him personally. So basically, the last 2 NFL honors, I've actually designed his suits with some custom suit makers.
Okay, cool.
That work with guys around the league. The one that we worked with last year, his name is Mitch Ferguson. So he just did the Hall of Fame yellow jackets that they're doing now with the Hall of Famers. So he does a whole lot of stuff. But more so what I do is understanding brands that cater to men that are of larger size, height, and weight, and just kind of give him things that he can wear not only in his daily life, but on his tunnel fits, as they call them, to when they walk into the stadium every week. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really cool, all the stuff that you've done. And I mean, we were talking before we went on air here about the shot on your homepage on jamesvaughters.com. It's like a drone shot or something, or an aerial shot. And you've got a favorite architect. I would never even think of having a favorite architect, but you do, and it was outside a building in New York. Maybe you could explain that a bit, because it was a very cool shot if you go to the website.
So the building in New York is called the Seagram Building. It's been a building that's been used in a lot of movies. It's used in American Psycho. It's Mugatu's headquarters in Zoolander. It's used in a whole lot of different movies, but it's got a big Marvel, what would you call it, a promenade or neutral space in the front of it. They use like travertine in the lobby. It's got black painted I-beams and floor to ceiling windows all the way around it. And when I made the website, I think that this architect, just with his less is more approach to architecture, kind of informed the way that I have my taste in architecture, as well as my taste in fashion, which is, it's not necessarily about wearing the most, for me, it's not the most about wearing the most extravagant thing, but if your clothes are well constructed, if your clothes fit you well, if your clothes are thoughtful, I think you can wear less clothes for longer. And in which case you have to think less about how you get dressed, to me. Because that's what I think that's the issue that most people have. It's like, I don't feel like thinking about it. But if you have good pieces, good things that are high quality, that'll last you for years, you like them. Everybody has like, I mean, I love Seinfeld. Sorry, I'm going to get into a different tangent. But there's an episode about him having his favorite shirt
his
favorite, since he has his favorite T-shirt that he calls Golden Boy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right. So like I feel like most guys, most people have a shirt that they've had for years that whenever they don't know what to put on, or if they're just hanging out at the house, they just put this shirt on. It's the most comfortable shirt they have.
Right.
So that mindset I've kind of tried to apply to clothes that you wear outside the house as well, which is like, if I want to feel the most comfortable, but still no one's going to say I'm underdressed when I go out, this is the shirt, this is the pants, this is the shoes that I would put on.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the philosophy that I
like
approach
that.
it through.
I like that. You know, I don't know how many I'm not a big award show guy, but my wife will watch it, and sometimes I'll just sit down and watch it too. And the thing that every once in a while the camera will catch somebody and you think, that person can't wait for this to be over to get out of that outfit because they do not look like they're comfortable.
Yeah.
They're sweating, it's too tight or whatever, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the website's really cool. There's a lot going on there, right? Because it's not limited to just the clothing, it's the architecture, photography. There's a lot, you're really exploring your artistic side. I think it's really neat.
Thank you. And I guess to actually answer your question, sorry about the drone shot.
rambling.
I wanted to find a way to incorporate myself, but also incorporate the architecture into the actual homepage itself. And I think because it's a skyscraper, it's almost impossible to do that with still shots. So I had the idea to use the drone and I wore all black, kind of like a draped all black outfit in the video to kind of not mimic but reference the building itself. Yeah. So I think that I loved how that shot came out, and I'm really glad that you brought it up.
There's a subtlety to it, right? Because a lot of people, if you say jamesvaughters.com, it's going to be your face right there, but it's it's you, but it's not all about you in that one moment. That shot. It's very cool. Very cool.
Appreciate that.
And one of the things I got down the rabbit hole, and you had written an article that I saw was posted on a magazine. What's it called? AOD
magazine.
AOD magazine.
Yes.
Blurred Lines, the Death of a Trend. And I started to read this article. It's really good. It's about, I guess, I'll let you explain it. I got the first paragraph here, but I'll let you explain what that article was about.
So I'll start my creative agency. Bobby Trends, the leader of the creative agency, my creative consultant, he basically started a magazine just to he had a vision to bring back actual article writing to the social space, just because everything's become so video based. And I think that there's a certain nuance and a certain feel that, a printed magazine has, but also that, article writing has as a means to, find opinions, find interesting topics. So I'm the men's fashion editor for the magazine.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And we're small staffed, obviously, because we're just getting started. This was the first issue. I have 2 articles in the second issue, but what I wanted to kind of talk about was how the, COVID and social media and just the spreading of a way to dress across that's so easily accessible has completely changed the way that people dress. Like, I even thought about it coming back to Canada after 2017-18 was before COVID. Coming back, I think people in Canada, like young people that you'll see in Canada, dress the exact same as young people that you'll see in the States, when I didn't feel like that was the case when I was up here the first time. And I think that trend used to be a thing like, oh, this is from last season, that's from last season. When I was growing up, I was, 6'2", 245 as a 16-year-old, and everybody's wearing a slim fit suit that has tapered ankles, and I wear a size 14 shoe, and I got big legs, and I felt like you were saying, I feel like this suit's too tight. I feel like I look ridiculous. So I think I'm happy that because, baggy pants came back. Oh, now baggy pants have been back too long. I think the whole concept of trend when it comes to clothing, I always thought it was a marketing ploy myself. And I think other people have caught wind of the fact that it's a marketing ploy, especially with TikTok and how they, shuffle out different trend. They were shuffling out the trend a week back in COVID times. So I think that, now that there's been so many, I feel like it's almost like, oh, well, you're wearing the trend from 3 weeks ago. You're so late. Nobody's doing that anymore because it was so recent. So I think the trend I think that we're getting to a point where people can dress what fits their body type. If I have wide legs, I should be able to wear wide leg pants and nobody say Steve Harvey suit or whatever they were saying. So, yeah.
It's funny because I would say, we'll get to the fan questions. We'll just about wrap this up. There's that expression, look good, feel good, right?
Right.
And in a lot of ways, it could be the opposite, right? If you feel good, then you look good, right?
Right, yeah.
In a way, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
If you're comfortable, then you feel good.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Josh, we'll go to the fan question segment before we wrap this up. Man, I appreciate it. We could go for a long time here, James, but we got to get some fan questions here. So
we also got to get him back to work.
That's true, too.
An hour here, so.
The coach should be knocking on the door here in a
That's
minute.
right. That's right. We're actually going to start. I have a question about fashion. I think there might be a lot of people that think like, man, if you want to dress nice and trendy and with a fashion sense, that it's going to be expensive. So can you talk a little bit about, is that true or is that not true? And how could someone dress nice, in your opinion, and look good and feel good while, not having to spend $150 on a shirt or a pair of pants or something? What's the reality of that?
Well, I think it's true and not true to a certain extent. I think we should think about clothing more so the way we think about any investment. Just because it's less money doesn't mean you should put less thought into it than buying a car or buying a phone, which everybody has $1,000 phone. So it's not like it's impossible to, put money down on clothing. But I was just talking in the locker room about it. It's like, if you buy a well-constructed pair of pants that's made from organic fibers, like you were saying, it'll make you feel better. And you may get 5 years of wear out of that piece of clothing when, if you buy something cheaper, if you buy something that's fast fashion, you'll find threads coming out of it. You'll see, the pilling that you see that comes from like polyester blend. You'll see fading, and you'll end up having. I realized I was buying a new set of T-shirts and a new set of sweatsuits every 6 months to a year, and it's like, if you have the means and if you invest in it, you can buy clothing that will last you for longer and look the same every time you wash it. Or if you decide to dry clean it, every time you wash it or put it on, it'll look exactly the same. Brands that I kind of appreciate that have like the tall option, I lean on Banana Republic a lot. I lean on Fear God Essentials when they're not using the polyester blend a lot. What else could I say? I think, Los Angeles Apparel is a good like basics, like T-shirts, hoodies, stuff like that. Levi's, I can get on my soapbox about Levi's. They're the originator of jeans. How could you ever talk bad about the originator of jeans? But if it's a non-stretch, 100% cotton Levi jean, they're still probably the biggest jeans brand in the world to this day. And they have such a wide option of cuts, wide option of sizes. Yeah. I think, how could you ever talk bad about Levi's? It's the ultimate American, ultimate jeans brand to me.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Oh, great. That's a ton of thought you put into that. Thanks. That's really cool. Moving right along here. More of a compliment than a question, but I tell my friends all the time, pro football players give the best, most insightful interviews. There you go. That's a compliment to you, my friend.
I appreciate that.
Go back to playing against the Bombers earlier in your career. Do you have someone, again, you were talking about going up against a tough tackle or a tough guard. Do you have someone that comes to mind being one of the more tougher opponents you faced out of Bomberland?
Well, the only left tackle I've ever played in Bomberland is Stanley Bryant. So obviously hats off to him. And the way I've always felt, I think O-line is much about how well they play together as it is how good they are individually. And just the way, because you guys have had such, well, you guys, it's hard to say, but because you guys have had because Winnipeg has had such an established culture when it comes to that, I've always felt like it was though I did get 2 sacks one year, all off, actually it probably was, I actually have a hilarious story behind this. So we got here to play Winnipeg when I was in Calgary, and what was it, 2023, before I had torn my bicep. And I was in my hotel room. Mike Rose knocks on my door randomly at like noon, like the time we usually be taking naps, knocks on my door. I open the door, he's dying laughing. He shows me a graphic that I think the media team had made of like, I think Willie at this point in the season might have had maybe like 5 sacks or something, and I think I had 1. And he was like, "What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it?" And I was like, "Okay, okay." So this nap that I was saying that we usually take around this time, no nap. I was stretching, staring at the ceiling, blood boiling, and ended up coming out and getting 2 sacks, probably off of pure anger and frustration. But yeah, I think this place has always been a hard place to get sacks without some sort of motivation.
You know,
Shout out to the media
there's
team.
2 things here. One, the guy that made that graphic is right on the other side of that wall right there. I'm going to go and find it, and we're going to put it up in the video. That's for sure.
Hey, if
That's
that's what
hilarious.
it takes to get you going, then let's
That's
go.
hilarious.
Maybe we should stop making those graphics.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
I was so hot, man. I don't think I might have never been that angry the day before.
That is a great story. Holy moly. That's awesome. All right, we're going to end off with one last question here, and then we'll get you out of here. There's a lot of Bomber fans that see you as like the counterpart to Willie Jefferson on the defensive line. So this question is, what did you know about Willie before coming here? Did you guys have a relationship? And what's it been like playing on the same D-line as him?
Yeah, good question.
I never met Willie personally up until I signed here, but I had always been I had been aware of him since way back when he was in Sask when I was up here before. But he always seems to have like I'd call it a magnetic energy that from the outside looking in, it's like, man, why do people feel so strongly about this guy? But then actually getting here and just seeing the type of leadership that he provides to a team, especially being in the team for that long. And just like he's the guy that's given the speech every time we bring it up. He's a guy that always has a lot of energy. He's not a guy that complains. And I think one of the most remarkable things about him is like every play, he has a lot of great plays in the game, tip ball, sacks, touchdowns, all that good stuff. But obviously you play this game long enough, you'll have plays that aren't good. And when he doesn't have a good play, he knocks it out of his mind really quickly, and it doesn't change the way that he approaches the team. He still is a leader. Because I think that's just like who he is. And, I think someone like me who's kind of had a lot of ups and downs, winning teams, losing teams, moving here, moving there, I think just like there's a lot of internal conflict for me when it comes to if I'm feeling really good, it's hard for me to be truthful all the time because sometimes I'm not feeling good. But someone like Willie, who is the type of leader who is always going to, regardless of how he's feeling, regardless of how his last play was, is encouraging the team, is a vocal leader, is always energetic. I think it's something that is really remarkable, and I really understand it.
It's a great answer because I didn't know a lot about him either. We all see him as fans, and then I'm not obviously in the locker room with you guys, but it doesn't seem like he has many bad days.
No, yeah,
He
doesn't.
infectious energy, right?
And he always practices. Was he 33?
Yeah.
34? He always practices.
Yeah.
And when I got here, I was like, as hard as it was to practice 15 days in a row, 3 hours, 4 hours on the field, I'm like, I mean, this guy's 3 years older than me. He's practicing.
Yeah.
And if I want to be a part of the team and win the way they've been winning, I got to do the same thing.
Yeah. Hey, listen, James, this was really good. Are there any more questions?
We just got one thing here. That's it.
Oh, they found the graphic.
There it is, right there.
Yeah, defense. Did they have the knockdowns on
One
there?
sack, 7 tackles, 0 forced fumbles, 0 knockdowns. Against 4 sacks, 18 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, and 4 knockdowns.
I could see why your blood got boiling.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone's 6'7", right? And like, I think the knockdowns as the cherry on top was just like,
Like, come on.
you know how hard it is for me to get knocked down. No other DN comparison would have knockdowns on it except for Willie Jefferson one.
Yeah,
So,
That's it, man. That's all we got over here.
Okay.
I'll just say jersey giveaway will be live in the chat for another few minutes. Thanks everyone for hanging out. We got 700 people hanging out. So
Wow.
it's been
Fantastic.
awesome. But I'll throw it to Ed to close us out here.
Yeah, listen, James, we could have gone for another hour here. I'm having a great conversation with you, but we, again, don't want you to get fined or miss a meeting or have the coach yelling at you. So appreciate you. This was great. Thanks to our sponsors, Coors Light, Duran Equipment. Special thanks to our guest, James Vaughters. Thanks to my guy, Josh, for the producer, and for Sam and Cam in the other room there for making this work. We greatly appreciate everybody who tunes in every week, and the bump we occasionally get from Winnipeg Sports Talk, our friends over there too. Please remember to join us every Tuesday at 3 on the Blue Bombers YouTube page and also on X. Again, thanks for the numbers. The numbers are going up like crazy, so tell your friends, like and subscribe, and join us every Tuesday at 3 o'clock. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Thank you.